Are you going to go do some fun? Are you going to go do these things? Because, I mean, I had one client who kept wanting to work, and he worked all the way till 70. I mean, he had enough money, but then by the time he retired, he had a bunch of leg issues that he was working with, and he couldn't do some of these trips that he wanted to do anymore because he waited so long. Welcome to Wealth Creator Radio, where we help people overcome the uncertainty of having enough retirement income. I'm your host, Eric Heckman, a certified financial planner with over 30 years of experience. We want you to enjoy life and not have to wonder where your money will come from and how long it'll last. My mission is to show you how to develop a personalized income plan so you can retire more and have worry less wealth. Here at Wealth Creator Radio, we cut through the noise and get straight to what matters. We understand that the world of retirement planning can be filled with confusing products, ever-changing tax laws, and volatile markets. That's why we're here to help successful people like you navigate the uncertainty and create a blueprint for a thriving, work-optional life.
Welcome to our show where we talk about retirement planning. Eric is right here in Silicon Valley, and he's been helping people just like you have remarkable retirements. In fact, he's been doing this for 30 years now, and it is his mission to help you plan for lifetime income, to help you weather most any economic storm. Let's start off with the phone number. We want you to have this handy. You can call or text the word visit to 800-454-1184. 800-454-1184. Remember, that's a complimentary appointment. The other thing you can do is text the word toolbox to the same number, and you can get our complimentary toolbox that includes resources that you can read for retirement, most any topics that we talk about on our show, and Eric's book, Blueprint to Worryless Wealth, all complimentary. Text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184. Remember to check out our podcast. It comes out every Tuesday morning. It's the entire latest show that's posted at 9 a.m. In case you missed part of this show, you can catch it there. And we've made it available for you anywhere that you get your podcast. Okay, so just check Wealth Creator Radio. All right. And we are so excited to be with you today, Eric. We have a lot of stuff to get to. We're going to talk about really just making it through retirement, maximizing your retirement income.
Yep. No, sounds great. That's the biggest thing you need to do is make sure you have income. Without income, you're just unemployed.
That's right. And you
can't.
Yeah.
We need to make sure you have income and make sure that money lasts.
The last thing we need at this stage in the game, after we've saved for retirement, is making some kind of a mistake with our money. And then we end up spending it down too quickly. So that's the big question. How can you make sure that you have done enough? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to share with you simple ways to help maximize your retirement income so that you can make the most out of your retirement and take these strategic but simple steps that we have for them. Right, Eric?
Yeah, no, it's really important to recognize how to, focus on your retirement, make sure you've saved that, you've been saving that money for all this time and you just really been trying to kind of go up the mountain and grow the money, right? But believe it or not, when you go down the mountain, that's when more people get injured or die in mountain climbing because people don't focus on it and don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And same with retirement. As you're kind of built up that big mountain of money, hopefully for retirement, when you're starting to use that money and going back down with that mountain, you need to make sure you have it set up the right way.
Exactly. Yeah. People who are mountain climbers, they get guidance for the way down. Yeah. That's so interesting to me. I didn't really know that until I started talking with you. But we have some projections from the Employee Benefit Research Institute, and it shows that about 40% of households, and these are, where the head of the household is somewhere between 35 and 64 years old, they are projected to run short of money in retirement, Eric. So how concerned should pre-retirees be about running out of money?
It should be probably one of the top ones, if not the top one. And, most of us don't have pensions. Social Security is mostly there, but in 2035, it's supposed to have issues where it might not be able to pay 20% of its bills, and that's not good. Mm-hmm. So, we will hopefully see somebody in government finally fix that, but, hasn't happened yet and probably won't happen for a while. So that means it's all onto you. And that means you're in charge of your own retirement and making sure your own income lasts. And, that's a lot for somebody who's probably never done that before, right? So that's where it's really good to reach out, get some help. There's a lot of great tools out there where some great products too, where you can guarantee some of that money for the rest of your life. And that way you can kind of really create your own pension. And once you've created that stream of income, then the market money is not as critical, and that's more your fund money, your spending money. But you got to have a plan for that, because all the medical technology is helping us live longer. But if you don't have money, that's not going to be a very good life.
No, it is not. And that's what this whole show is about. That's what your whole business is about, really. I mean, the main focus of it is to help retirees make sure their money does last. Let's talk about factors, though, that can cause you to spend down your savings faster than anticipated, Eric.
Well, I think the first one's actually not planning on how much spending you're going to do the first 5 to 10 years. Those are what we like to call your go-go years, where you get the money, you get the energy, and you want to go, see this, do that, right? Have all that fun.
Yeah.
And then you have your slower go years, and that's where maybe health issues start coming up and other things. And then you have some years where you probably won't go. And you're older and maybe not able to get around. But during that whole time frame, you also have inflation. You don't know where that's going to be year by year. And then stock markets, ups and downs. Usually every decade has probably at least 2 bad years in there. And so when are those bad years? And, are they early on in retirement, later on in retirement? These are all the things that you have to kind of account for, right? And so not just how long you're going to live and what your health's going to be like, but inflation, stock market uncertainty, how much money you're spending. And, that's where it comes down to having a plan. You need to have a plan. And our planning process is called the Blueprint to Worry Less Wealth, because we want you to worry less about your money and retire more and have fun.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that you want to be really focused on. And so, we've set up a lot of great digital tools in our digital toolbox. I've got a copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth. We've got a great quick report of will your money last as long as you do? Exactly what we're talking about. So there's that and more there, and even a way to set up a time to talk with me. So all you have to do to get access to everything is just text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184. Or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
And thank you so much for joining us today. This is Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial. Eric, let's talk about some strategies here then. Tell us a possible strategy to help make sure that we're not going to spend down our savings too quickly.
Yeah, one popular one is having a bucket strategy, where you kind of visualize a pot of money and you spend that pot of money down while the other ones keep going. And then you have another one that you spend down, and then, another one. And so, if you have those set up right, it can be really good. I find one of the best tools to use for that type of thing is something that's guaranteed, where the money won't drop. And by having something where the money won't go away, you can take that money out, right? Year after year after year. And you're good. And then the rest of your money, the other buckets, can be bouncing around, going up and down with the markets, right? Doing all the crazy stuff that the markets do. But over time they're going to go up. And and that's how you're going to be able to make that money last a lot longer.
Okay, very good. So I love the bucket strategies where you can have liquid and then also savings for later and all those strategies. So a lot of times on our show, we say, hey, you can get a second opinion on what what strategies you're doing on your retirement right now. And you offer that every week, don't you?
Yeah, certainly. So when you're looking at that, what you've got set up, and hopefully if something's set up, but more often than not, about 80% of people who are getting close to retirement don't even have a written income plan. And that's really scary. It's kind of like going out in the forest, out of cell range, and trying to get someplace without a map. And, you might get there just because lucky, but probably not. So that's one of the things that we want to do is build that roadmap for you, build that blueprint to worry less wealth. So that way we know what your income plan is going to be. Where's that money going to come from? How should you change your investments to then start putting off that income? And what's the tax ramifications over that time, over not just that 1 year, but your entire retirement? And how do we lower your lifetime taxes, not just your taxes 1 year? And then, of course, we want to look at healthcare, legacy issues. And those are the 5 areas of the blueprint to worry less wealth. Again, something that you can set up a time to talk with me, Eric Heckman, or just get some great tools at our digital toolbox. A copy of my book, Will Your Money Last as Long as You Do? Social Security Decision, and Are You Paying Too Much Taxes in Retirement? Lots of great information. So all you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Be sure to like and subscribe to Wealth Creator Radio so you can stay up to date on ways to build your wealth and create a retirement you and your family will enjoy for years to come. Like and subscribe today and create your wealth for tomorrow with Wealth Creator Radio.
Hello, I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman, and we are so happy you joined us today. When you plan for retirement, you probably need to consider all the risks that your money may face, because if you don't take steps to help preserve that money from risk, then your whole retirement plan can be at risk. So let's get into that, Eric. What are some of the biggest potential threats to our retirement income? You've seen it all over the years.
Oh, certainly. One's longevity. That one always reminds me of a guy who I met when I was, probably pretty early on in my career, but he had told me he turned on Social Security at 62 because his CDs were all paying 8%. And you can tell what happened to his CDs, right? Once they hit, well, I think when we met, they were down to 4 before they went down to 1 and 2, right? And now they've of course come back, but I don't think he's still probably around because he was in his 70s or 80s older, 30 years ago. So,
right.
So that's one risk is how long is that money going to last? Obviously, diversification. We all know about that, not having all your eggs in one basket, but sometimes you work for a company and it looks great. It's doing great. And sometimes it goes for a long time, but sometimes those companies also flip the other direction, right? And that stock tanks out. And, and then of course, taxes are always a drawdown on your retirement. And, lots of times it's just simply not being prepared, not having a plan, not knowing what's going on, not realizing stuff until tax time, which of course is kind of silly because then it's too late.
Yeah. That's all looking back. Yeah.
Right. So you have to be looking forward to make sure that you have a plan that's really, concrete, that's going to work. And you can't just kind of play it by ear because that's very dangerous.
Exactly. Being unprepared. And that's why we do this show to help people understand what they need to prepare for. One of the biggest fears we know that Americans have about retiring is running out of money while in retirement. So I want you to talk about why so many people are worried about outliving their savings.
It should be something that you should be concerned about, right? Because, you don't know how long you're going to be around. And now people, what used to kill you, now you just take a pill. And and so, you might be, there for 3 or 4 decades, right? Retired. And that's a long time for that money to last. And, I had a client, Beth, she'd come in and she'd been retired for now, I think, probably about 10 years. And her big thing was she's always worried about, should I go get the Costco shopping cart? Because if you're going to get a shopping cart, you want the big one.
Because you're going to buy a lot. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
No. For her to live with, to push around her stuff, because she's always worried she's going to run out of money and be on the streets. And,
my goodness.
And it's actually, been a thing that's popped up in surveys is people worried about just living on the streets because they run out of money. And and her expenses, she even said, have almost doubled since she retired. And she's not doing extravagant crazy stuff. It's just things get more expensive. So I mean, luckily her money's been holding pretty well. And she actually had even done some math on her own, and we hadn't dropped very much from when we first retired. And so, so it is good to be looking backward like that. But the better part is we're really good that she had a plan to make sure that money lasts. And a lot of the stuff that we had set up for her is now on lifetime payouts. So that was the other part too, is some of these stuff's guaranteed to last for as long as she does. So, I kept having to reassure her, nope, you don't need to go figure out which shopping carts get the best wheels and stuff. So you're fine.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, wonderful. You were able to kind of talk her down, calm her down, We always talk about Fidelity telling us that a 65-year-old couple is going to spend about $315,000 on healthcare in retirement, and it does not include long-term care. So I know healthcare is part of your blueprint to worryless wealth. How do you help your retirees prepare for those costs in retirement?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously not much you can do about it. It's just going to happen. But, you can do some stuff ahead of time. If you had like a health savings account while you're working, before you're retired, that money you can keep in retirement. But beyond that, you just have to budget it. I mean, it has to be in part of that gap that you have, you budget some money for a fund, right? For vacations and stuff. You got to budget money for, the less fun stuff, right? all the healthcare items, and so you need to have that included, because it is going to be something that's going to always be there. It's going to probably never get cheaper, right? And so we need to have that accounted for. So when we're building out the income plan, we're looking at that fund, the healthcare, just healthcare premiums, all those things. And then running that all out with inflation and making sure that money's going to last for as long as you're going to last, and with taxes and everything included. And then you can figure out where your investments should be. You can look at the tax ramifications. How can we lower taxes over the rest of our lifetime? Obviously these healthcare issues, and then also legacy. Who's going to get your stuff after you're gone? How do you avoid fees and costs and probate fees and lawyer fees? So, that's the 5 areas we always look at. When we first talk with somebody, we just look at their situation, and, usually we'll have a 15 to 30 minute phone call just to find out what's going on, what their concerns are. And then from there, if it makes sense, we'll build that blueprint. Right now we're waiving that blueprint fee of up to $1,500. So we're just going to help people do that, because I'm on a mission to help 1,001 people retire by 2031. So we don't mind putting some of our hours behind it and telling you what's going on. But, then of course at the end of that second meeting, that's when you can decide if you want to work with us or not. So again, it's a great process. If you wanted to set up a time to talk, all you have to do is text the word visit to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word visit, 800-454-1184, or book directly online at wealthcreatorradio.com.
And you are listening to Wealth Creator Radio. That's what Eric wants to do, is help you create wealth for your retirement. So we're so happy that you joined us today. And we are talking about the risks in retirement. Another risk is inflation, right? I mean, it just happens, I look back to when I was a kid, and I, of course, remember what candy and stuff like that costs. But then, of course, as I've raised my kids and now, done grocery shopping, I certainly understand when milk gets so expensive. So it's something that we're going to see. You would say that's another risk, right, that we need to consider in retirement, inflation?
Yeah, well, like I said with Beth, she was saying how her costs have doubled in 10 years, and that's sadly fairly typical. I mean, things definitely go up, and a lot of things you didn't necessarily plan for too. So, it's just something where you have to have, every income plan has to have an increasing amount for inflation. You can't just just like regular life, right? Can you imagine trying to live on your salary that you had 30 years ago today? Probably not, right? So same difference here. You have to make sure that money's increasing all the time, and that has to be part of that plan.
Very, very good. So the other thing, tax planning, we were just saying, when you get your taxes done, you're looking back on the year. So that lack of tax planning, if you're not doing what we're talking about, having strategies, that can really impact a retirement too. And that's another risk.
Yeah. So when you first retire, there's kind of a couple phases. So the first one is, lots of times people will retire and they haven't turned on Social Security, and maybe they're living off of savings or stocks that they'd sold or other things for that first year. And so their taxes could be very low that year. Well, that might be a great year to do some tax planning, right? And do some Roth conversions. That next, after that next phase is when you have Social Security turned on. Well, now you've got a baseline of income that's going to be coming in. And then, of course, down the road at it's either 73 or 75, that's when you have required minimum distributions where you have to be taking money out of those retirement accounts. And that's going to be definitely your higher brackets. So depending on how you're going to structure that, you can do a lot of tax planning, but you need to have a financial advisor who knows taxes, who knows what they're doing in taxes there. We want to have you pay the least tax over your lifetime, not for 1 year. And big difference between the two. So yeah, taxes, you can pick your own taxes in retirement. It sounds like a weird thing, but depending on which bucket you take money from, that's going to dictate how that tax bill is going to look like. And and that's one of the things that I think is probably most shocking to a lot of my clients who have retired is how complicated retiring becomes because they thought, like taxes before when you're working, it's just, where's your W-2 and, all your other stuff. But it was pretty easy. Now it's like, well, hold it. If I take money from here, this is what happens. If I take money from here, then this happens. And so sometimes, you can structure it right where you don't pay tax on your Social Security for maybe a year or two. And, but it takes planning ahead of time. So that one, you really need to figure out, either December or January for that year, how you're going to take the money out. I mean, December for the following year or January for that same year. And, you can't do this in looking backward because it caused the tax hit, right?
It's too late. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too late. So that's one of the biggest things that I think people really need to know is how they can lower their taxes again over their lifetime, not just 1 year. So, we've got a lot of great info set up at our digital toolbox, and you can figure out how to pay less. And, are you paying too much taxes in retirement? It's one of the downloads that you can get real quick. So all you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox 800-454-1184 or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
If something's worth doing, it's worth doing right. There's a particular time of life this phrase couldn't be more appropriate. How can you know you'll live the retirement you've always imagined? After all, life can be so unpredictable. You've worked hard and saved. Watch your accounts go up and down with the market. Your advisor says, don't worry, you'll be fine. But you still don't feel confident. Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial has a checklist to help you find out if you're on the right track for retirement. If you can check all the boxes with confidence, you may be ready for retirement. If not, Eric can help you address any potential costly mistakes. To get Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial's complimentary checklist, call or text LIST to 800-454-1184. Call or text LIST to 800-454-1184. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Heckman Financial and Insurance Services, Inc. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Hi, we're so glad to have you here with us today. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. We're outlining the different risks to your retirement income. So I'm sure you're finding this very interesting. Outliving your savings is a big concern for all of us. But if you're so worried about outliving your savings, can that cause you to underspend in retirement, Eric?
Wow, this seems like it shouldn't be a big issue, but it's a monster issue. I cannot believe how many people that I have that don't do stuff, and you kind of go, you've got the money.
Why?
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had one couple that she was part Native American, and she started getting all this money from this tribe casino thing, and I mean, big money, like sometimes up to 6 figures a year. It was kind of crazy, and her husband would joke he married her for the money. It just took 40 years to show up. But but they had a wall heater for their entire house. They didn't even have forced air that, and then the summer they didn't have AC. And it's like the amount of money that was going to cost them was going to be like 3 or 4 weeks of her money that she got from the tribe. And I'm like, go ahead, spend it. That's what it's there for, right? You're just building up too much. And I've seen that over and over. And I mean, I had one client that she inherited her mom's house. And I mean, it was right when real estate was super going crazy. And her and her sister got both 7 figures out of this house that when her mom sold it, after they sold it after she passed away. But her mom didn't want to do anything. They kept bugging her mom about doing these trips, and then she got too old and couldn't do these trips. And, it really frustrated her because she's like, she left us all this money, which is great, but she didn't do the stuff she wanted to do. So, so sometimes it is really hard for people, believe it or not, to actually spend money. It seems like a weird thing, but until they understand it, or they just need to go, somebody needs to, I try to give them permission, go have fun, go do it. But it is weirder issue than you think it would be, because you think it's easy to tell somebody to spend money, but no, it's actually sometimes the hardest.
Right. And that's what you do as you help them create that spending plan. You show them, you're good. Like you said, spend confidently.
I mean, because the nice thing is when we're meeting with them and, checking back in, if all the monies are going up and their amount of money is lasting even longer, it's like, what are you going to go do some fun? Are you going to go do these things? Because, I had one client who kept wanting to work, and he worked all the way till 70. He had enough money, but then by the time he retired, he had a bunch of leg issues that he was working with, and he couldn't do some of these trips that he wanted to do anymore because he waited so long. And so, the other thing too is health, it will change, right, for all of us over time. And so that's the other problem, is sometimes people want to wait to do these things later. Well, once they feel confident enough about their money lasting, now, they're too, physically they're not able to do the stuff that they wanted to do. So it is a weird thing, but that's why the income plan that we develop, as part of the blueprint, we can show you that, you're going to be fine. So go ahead, have some fun on there, and also just having a dollar figure to it too. A lot of times I like to call it a fun fund. So if you gonna spend whatever it is, 10, 15, 20,000 a year on a big trip or something, let's have it accounted for. Let's have it in the budget. Have that number in there, and then you're supposed to go do it. Yeah,
exactly. That's what that's for. I love it. Should people be invested differently in retirement because they are afraid to lose any money,
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the other big problem is people, they've been going one direction for 30, 40 years, right? They've been just putting money away, and all you cared about was grow, grow, grow. But now, no, that money has to come out. That money, you can't just say, oh, I'm not retired this month. That's just not how it works, right? Or I don't need to pay my bills this month. I'll wait for the market to come back. No, you cannot wait for the market to come back in retirement. You got to have that money. So that's why I specialize really only in people that are, late 50s, early 60s, doing that shift into retirement, because now we're having to restructure stuff. We're having to slowly move that stuff into the right allocation, and that right allocation has to include non-market stuff. So everything in your 401k is either stocks and bonds. That's all markets, all risk. 100% of that money can go down, in any one year. So one of the things we need to do is we need to have some money in foundational assets, so stuff that can't go away. So in those bad years, which about 2 out of every 10 are bad years in the market, and so we know they're going to come. And we need to have a spot to go grab that money so we can pivot in those bad years, take it from the guaranteed sources. In the good years, you take it from the market. And then you want to have about 10 or 20% of your money in a category kind of in between, which I like to call steady income money. And steady income money is stuff that's usually less volatile assets, stuff that pays really good dividends, anywhere from about 6 to 10%, ideally monthly or quarterly. And so that one's always giving you cash flow. So there's always some money coming in, because again, you need to take money out every month, not just some months, but every month. So so if you've got that, then you're prepared. It's just like, my boys were all in scouts. I was a scout, but scout motto is be prepared. We need to be prepared for all those good years, bad years, and in between years. And so, you have that market money, but you need to have steady income money, and you certainly have to have some foundational money. And if you don't set those up right, it's going to be really ugly, in those bad years. You want diversification, not desperation in terms of your retirement, right?
Exactly.
And so one of the things that we've set up is a lot of great tools in our digital toolbox. So we've got stuff like, will your money last as long as you do? Are you paying too much in taxes in retirement? The Social Security decision. These are really super quick reads, not jargony stuff, just stuff that give you some great info. And then you can either get a copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth, or even set a time to talk. So if you want to get a hold of all that great data, it's super easy. All you do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Yeah, this is what Eric does. He helps people retire well every day. That's his goal for you. 30 years and counting. And Eric's system is working very, very well, helping retirees every day. So make sure you put that phone number in your phone, have it near you so you can text him and get this toolkit complimentary. And thanks for joining us. This is Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman right here in Silicon Valley. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer. So, Eric, here's a question for you. What if someone is not interested in investing in the markets in retirement? What are some other options for them?
Yeah, no, there are some great options, especially now. I mean, there's been so many more better designed products that are for people that don't want to have a ton of risk, right? They want to make sure that, hey, that making that 1 or 2% more compared to losing 10 or 20%, I just can't handle it, right? I want the kiddie roller coaster. I don't want I don't want the ones that flips and does corkscrews and all that stuff. I can't handle it. And so no, there are a lot of great options out there. These are tools that often the principal is guaranteed, but they pay a rate based on the stock market indexes. So when those indexes go up, it's kind of like going upstairs. You go up and you keep going up each year. But if there's a down year, it's just flat. It's like going on a landing on a staircase. You just walk over sideways and then you take off, from there. So those accounts can be really good because of, their principal's protected, but you're also going to earn, on average, some pretty good interest rates. So there's a lot of things out there, a lot more than just those tools. But yeah, that's where talking with somebody like us can really help you out. I had somebody from the radio call me up, Dennis, and he hadn't saved enough in early in retirement. He didn't always have great employment. So now he's in his 50s. He's kind of, all in, trying to shovel all that money into retirement. Right.
Yep.
And so, he's been doing that and being able to fund that and catch up. But we were able to figure out that, he's on a pretty good track for retirement as long as he keeps doing this. But, that's why you want to have that income plan, that discussion, and figure out, are you on the right path or not? So again, we've got a lot of great things in the toolbox. You can set up a time to talk. You can get a copy of our book. But lots of great quick downloads. All you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Imagine for a moment that an intense storm is pounding your house. Will the roof leak? Will the siding peel away? Will your basement flood? If your house is properly built and maintained, you'll be fine. But what about your 401k or your investments? The stock market has had a great run the last few years, but is its current turmoil making you feel uneasy? Are you confident your portfolio is built to weather the financial storm? Now may be a great time to have your retirement plan inspected. Call Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial at 800-454-1184 now. Eric will examine your portfolio and show you if your investments are in need of some weatherproofing. Call Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial today at 800-454-1184. That's 800-454-1184. Investment advisory services offered through Heckman Financial Insurance Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor.
Thank you for spending part of your day with us today. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer with Eric Heckman. I trust you are learning a lot. Eric is an independent financial advisor, and Heckman Financial is an independent firm. So their focus is on helping you make the best decisions for your own situation so you can worry less in retirement. Eric, the number of Americans who are afraid that they'll never be able to retire appears to be at an all-time high.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. Right?
I know.
But, if you're worried about being able to retire and you're not sure, that means you probably don't have a plan. You probably don't know where you're going, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like driving down the road and not having a destination. You'll get someplace. But, maybe not, if you're trying to go to the beach and you end up in the mountains, well, okay, hopefully you like the mountains instead. But
yeah. Hope you have the right clothes, right?
Right. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully you packed right. So that's one of the things that you have to do is you have to make sure that you're working with the right type of professional. You don't go to a pediatrician when you're 50 or 60 or something, right? And, but you might be going to a financial advisor or might be using somebody who mostly does investment management and doesn't really do retirement planning, doesn't do distribution planning of how to take the money back out.
So according to a new poll, Ipsos, 1 in 5 Americans think that they'll never be able to retire. Is that surprising to you?
Well, actually, not at all. I mean, I was executive producer for a film called The Psychology of Retirement, and one of the former comptroller of the general of the U.S. He talks about in that film how about 50% of people, the only income they have in retirement is Social Security.
Oh my!
I mean, literally nothing else. So yeah, I mean, if that's all you have, then yeah, maybe pretty tough to retire.
Yeah. I watched that movie. That is good. Yeah. The Psychology of Retirement by Morgan Housel, same guy that wrote The Psychology of Money. So that is a good movie. Is that going to be out to the public? Is that going to be available? Or are you going to play it to?
Yeah, we have actually events, so they can, people can always check our events page.
Yeah.
And, or they can even reach out to us. We actually have some streaming codes sometimes that we can provide to people too. So.
Yeah. I loved it. It was very helpful. All right. So how can having this retirement income strategy that we always talk about help people feel more confident about their own future?
Well, it's just like anything. I mean, if you're, I do a lot of cycling and stuff. And when I was riding all 50 states, 50 miles in all 50 states in 25 months, or when I was doing my 100 kilometers in all 10 provinces in Canada, or even the coast trip when I rode from Oregon to the Mexican border, all of those I had a map and I had a way to go. I knew where I was going to go. I had a lot of stuff with me. Now, none of those ever worked successfully. There's always something. There's either construction or a road washed out or power lines down. I mean, flooding. I mean, literally, those are all things that I've run into along the way. And then sometimes you kind of realize that, hey, I need some real food, not just the cycling food and other stuff. So you have to go have a stop for that someplace, right?
Yeah.
And so. Just like retirement, very similar. You want to have that plan. You want to have that goal of what you're going to be doing, but it's going to change. And it's something that kind of like showering. You can't just do it once. You got to keep doing it. So every year you got to check back in to see if everything's still on track, everything's going there. That's pre and post retirement, really, that you have to be doing that. And and so that's one of the things that we do here at Heckman Financial is we help people build that blueprint to worry less wealth, where we do that first and foremost, that income plan, look at Social Security, look at where their other assets are. How are you going to get the money out of all these different things? I mean, it's amazing how kind of scary it is just taking those withdrawals. Then you have to figure out, okay, well, are my investments structured now, not for growth, but to give me money back? Because now you don't care about the points on the scoreboard. Now you just care about how much money is in your checking account each month, right? Mm-hmm. And then what's the tax ramifications of all this money? Because there's a lot of tax minefields that you hit in retirement, and you cannot plan that at tax time. That's too late. You got to plan this out in January for that year that you're taking that money out. And then you'll have a lot better situation. So those are the 3 key areas. Obviously, healthcare is another big issue, and who gets your money after you're gone. So those are the 5 areas that everybody has to have a plan for. If you haven't done a plan, you still have a plan. It's just not the one you want.
Yeah.
So we want you to have the plan that you want that benefits you the most. And so, so that's what we help people set up. And so you can set up a time to talk with us. You can read my book, Worry Less Wealth. You can get a lot of great downloads like Will Your Money Last as Long as You Do? All that is available at our digital toolbox. And all you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Yeah, Eric advises his retirees by helping them preserve their assets, increase their income, reduce taxes, take advantage of getting some complimentary help, because that's why Eric is here every week, and he would love to guide you. And thank you for joining us. This is Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial, right here in San Jose, and helping people in all the areas around here. And if you're looking for some guidance, he's the one to do it. Their system is working very well at Heckman Financial, and he's reaching out to you today. So here's what I want to ask you. It's, obviously, if someone's been working with a financial professional, it's important to realize that maybe this isn't the right fit for the different stage of your life that you're going into for retirement. I want to bring that up.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you do want to have somebody who can help you permanently. And, like I help people, not even just locally, but, a lot of my clients have moved to other places and stuff. And so we're with Zoom and everything else, we're still able to work with them. But, really what you want to do is you want to have somebody who really knows how to take money out, how to distribute the money. If they give you one of those silly things where it says, you've got an 80% or 70% chance of success. Well, if the pilot of the plane got on and said, we have a 70% chance of making it, would you stay on that plane?
I'd say, get me off of this thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so I always think that's just a silly thing. And that, to me, that shows somebody who's not really a distribution planner, not somebody who's planning for retirement, but somebody who's just hoping the money lasts. And I don't want to have any of my clients retire on hope.
No.
We want to have them retire on a plan that we know will work and we'll be there for them. And so that's one of the things that, we want to look at the taxes along the way. We want to make sure we have the income set up right. We want to make sure that they're not exposed to too much loss because, statistically speaking, every 3 decades, there's one good one okay one, and one bad one. Well, if you get the bad one, your first decade of retirement, it can be really bad for the rest of your life, right? So we want to make sure that the plan works in any situation. And, that's, I think, the key is working with somebody who specializes in that retirement planning distribution section, for people who are 55 and up and getting to retirement.
Okay, we just, we were talking about how people who are mountain climbers, let's say Mount Everest, yeah, you get coached on the way up, but the way down the mountain is so much more dangerous. And people hire Sherpas who, they know what path to take and they coach you on how to come down. That's what you do. You coach people on how to, live out their retirement.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so, with those people not feeling comfortable, not feeling like they have enough money, once we have that blueprint to worry less wealth, we know that they're going to be okay. We know that we've got a plan. We know that, they're not going to go sliding down the mountain and fall off a cliff or something. We know that we've accounted for all the different things that's going to happen in everybody's retirement. So that's one of the big keys. So again, that, we've got all these great resources, a way to set a time with me, Eric Heckman, a copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth, and even lots of downloads, all in our digital toolbox. All you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Thinking about healthcare costs, long-term care expenses, and income needs in retirement? How will you afford it all? And what can you do now to help ensure your loved ones will be okay when you're gone? Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial has access to tools and strategies that can help you pursue your retirement dreams without taking on too much risk with your money. Interest rates are the highest they've been in decades, so take advantage of this seemingly once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to help protect your retirement before it's gone. Learn about the tools and features available today that could provide bonuses, potentially adding up to tens of thousands of dollars in additional income when medical needs arise. Schedule your visit with Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial today by calling 800-454-1184. That's 800-454-1184. These opportunities won't last forever, so call now to help protect your future. 800-454-1184.
Hi, I'm Luann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. He is president of Heckman Financial. He's author of the book, Worry Less Wealth. He's giving that away today in his toolbox. So make sure you take advantage of that. Just text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184. All right, Eric, we have come to this time in our show where we do success stories, okay? We also do some fails, financial fails, but today we're going to have you tell us about something nice that has happened, a great example that a retiree did something that turned out right. What do you have for us?
Well, this is something that happens now, I would probably guess almost quarterly, if not monthly. So I've somewhat became an expert at moving people out of the Bay Area. So now, I mean, what's happened for so many people is they go, well, my kids aren't around here, or, there's other places I have relatives, or, it could be a lot of stuff, grandkids maybe in different parts of the country. And so, yeah, lots of times we'll do the math and we'll run the numbers and say, well, yeah, if you sell this house, you can pay off that mortgage. And guess what? Now you don't have a mortgage anymore. You can go buy a new place for cash in lots of other places in the country. And yes, you're going to pay some taxes. So one of the things that we typically do is we do some specialty tax planning right before the client goes in and sells that house. But yeah, for a lot of our clients, it's been really wonderful. I've got one client who just sold her place, and she's Irish, and so she was going to split time between her daughter in Ireland, and then also she's got one in Seattle. And luckily, she sold it for so much more than she even planned on that she's going to be able to easily buy a place up in Seattle that, kind of a house where they can add a little, mother-in-law unit or mother unit, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then she's also going to buy a place in Ireland just with the proceeds. And without having to have that mortgage anymore, she'll have plenty of other monies, that really frees up that other money, right, just to be able to live on. I had another client that they had a business out here and a chiropractic office, and they were closing that down. They were able to finally, luckily, sell it because they had some troubles for a while. They're trying to find a good buyer. And, they sold their place here. They'd been building a custom house out in Florida. And all the proceeds from that, paid off that place. Now they've got, with some of the extra money, they don't even think they're going to need to touch any of their retirement assets for probably 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Which, is a great way to then let that money build and grow. And we can do some advanced tax planning and some Roth conversions and all sorts of stuff. So, there are ways to, to think about things and change stuff. And, and the nice thing with Zoom and all that, these people can still be my clients anywhere really where they end up. So, so I definitely have a lot more clients, a lot more states, that's for sure. So, and a couple other countries even. So, yeah, I mean, so that's one of the things that maybe not something you're thinking of. Maybe you said you wanted to stay around here because, of course, we have the great weather. But sometimes maybe it's a grandkid, maybe it's your children, maybe it's just you met somebody else or whatever. But a lot of times you end up moving, and if you can do it right, if you plan it right, there's a lot of ways that you can get this done, and definitely save all those receipts for when you fix up the house. Thank you for tuning in to Wealth Creator Radio. I'm Eric Heckman, and it's been a pleasure guiding you towards a more confident and secure retirement. Remember, my responsibility is to always do what's right for you, our client. Together, we can cut out that fancy-sounding financial jargon that doesn't help and focus on what truly matters for your financial future. If you're ready to take control of your retirement planning and build a personalized income plan, contact us at 800-454-1184 and text the word TOOLBOX to schedule a complimentary consultation. If you're looking for more resources and tools to build your retirement future, don't forget to check out the Wealth Creator Toolbox, your toolkit for a secure and confident retirement journey. Until next time, retire more and worry less with Wealth Creator Radio.
Information provided during Wealth Creator Radio is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Individuals should thoroughly review the contract for specific details of the product features and costs. Income payments and withdrawals from deferred annuities are generally taxable as ordinary income in the year they are taken. Eric Heckman offers investment advisory services through Heckman Financial and Insurance Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Any tax advice given as part of this presentation is not intended to be used and cannot be used by the taxpayer for the purpose of avoiding tax penalties or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any matter or transaction addressed herein. The views and opinions expressed in the program are not necessarily those of the radio station or its sponsors, and they should not construe as legal, tax, or investment advice. You should always consult the appropriate advisor before making any financial decision.
This radio show is a paid placement.